Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Confessions of a Gamer Couple. I'm your host, Doom Cutie, and there's a man. There's a man here. Don't be alarmed.
A
Don't-
man?
It's a man. Please welcome to the podcast.
I've heard of those.
Emily and Promythean.
Hey, hi, g'day, hello.
Hi. How are you? Right. I am very happy to have this couple here because they are D&D players. I know I'm not trying to scare anyone off, but yeah, they are those kind of lovely gamers, which we really, really do appreciate here on the podcast. We've had one other person who was a D&D, I think Dungeon Master. We have had them on before,
And now you have
and
two.
I know. I'm ticking them off.
3 in total.
Two at once. That's wild.
I know. I am very interested in this couple and their lore because
Me too.
it's very special because this is a love story forged not in a rom-com but around a character sheet, a bag of dice, and a DM who probably wasn't prepared for what came next. Our guests met through Dungeons and Dragons, and what started as a shared campaign quickly turned into a shared life. They've battled monsters, navigated moral dilemmas, survived chaotic party decisions, and somehow managed to fall in love along the way. We're talking character chemistry, real-world romance, and what it's like to build a relationship through collaborative storytelling.
I have goosebumps from that intro to our relationship.
That was
That's
real
adorable.
pretty. That makes us sound way cooler than what we are.
Yeah, to date, what I have is partner in TTRPG war crimes is my tagline for the pairing at this point.
Well, I can think of worse ones, to be honest. But yes, I find every person that I have met in the D&D community as someone who is like, I've always been interested, never done it, don't live near people. But then I see you guys doing your hexes and vexes on stream, and I'm like, that's very cool. I could probably do that. But I've always found people in this community just so open and lovely, and it's really awesome that you guys have joined me today. But for those of the listeners that don't know who you are and what you do, please, can you tell them a little bit about yourselves? Emily,
I'm going to go first, because the man should go last.
Absolutely agree.
The tagline I use for myself is, hi, I'm Emily. I am the producer, game master, chief executive thirst master over on Hexes and Vexes, where I run my first ever Dungeons and Dragons campaign and a bunch of indie TTRPGs in between, as well as some variety gaming. On my little baby Hexes and Vexes, which has been a ton of fun. It's been great.
It has looked like a ton of fun. I've obviously known Emily outside of this, and stalked her mildly. Nothing too serious there, but
it's okay. I've done it back to you, so it's fine.
No, but it always just looks like so much fun, and I can imagine just stepping into these worlds. It might be a little bit difficult to not fall in love with people, and especially with dashingly handsome people like Promythean here.
It's fine.
Please, Promythean, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Promythean. There's a 0 in it, and I'm dashingly handsome. No, I am a prolifically casual player of games on the internet initially, and then started playing a bunch of games that involved rolling dice with Meeples and Dragons and a bunch of other channels now, including Hexes and Vexes, Emily's little champion channel, and my even littler, not so champion channel, The Lore Rights, where I run my first D&D campaign. And a couple of other places, basically anywhere that'll take me on a table and let me pretend to eat dice.
Yeah, I'm glad you added that last part on there.
You can see what I see in him, right?
I think I'm not allowed to, but that's totally okay. I get you. I see you.
Yeah.
Before we get into the coupley stuff, okay, were you D&D players IRL first and then moved it to like on Twitch channels and stuff like that?
It's a really good question. I think we both have like different stories when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing games in general. I still am relatively new at it and only ever played at a table for like a month before I started playing on the internet. It was my first time playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I was the only girl, and I had no idea what I was doing. No idea whatsoever. But it's been great.
Well, I'm sure everyone would have been very nice to you being the only girl helping
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, fine.
And until she started speaking.
Wow. No, no, they were all great. They like my very first table was like they were all friends of mine before anything else. And at the time I was working with like I work in the entertainment industry when I'm not doing this. And I'd worked a bunch with conventions, and we'd had a couple of guests at these conventions that were like Dungeons and Dragons stars from a very popular podcast, Critical Role. And I was like, I don't get it. Someone explain it to me. And then they kind of shoved dice at me, and I've been addicted ever since.
Well, I think that's really great that you've had kind of that initial experience, and obviously like just being exposed by it, you know, you kind of, oh, I could learn that. That's kind of cool.
Maybe.
And I think maybe, but I think, you know, it really, anyone who is creative has thought about it. They've thought about playing D&D. Promethean, when did you drink the Kool-Aid? How did that go?
Kind of late, when sort of in my teenagerhood, my crowd, you were either D&D or your Warhammer, and all of my friends did the Warhammer thing, and so I landed in that crowd instead. And that was probably...
He doesn't like painting.
True. I did okay. I also did not do okay. And like melting plastic to make fancy versions of stuff probably wasn't a good idea. And so yeah, for years it was kind of that version of the tabletop stuff, and then just kind of gaming in general dissipated from my life for several years, and coming back around, I got an invite from a friend to come over and play D&D. I was like, yes, absolutely, we'll do that. And on the back of that, a good friend of mine, Katrina Hill, who runs a fun little historical podcast, was kind enough to invite me to some... Shout out to Katrina. Best person, best human.
She's great.
Was kind enough to invite me to some stage stuff as well, playing Call of Cthulhu. So I dallied around different versions of it for quite a bit before doing the online on Twitch thing across a couple of systems. And I think it was the charity event with Meeples and Dragons that I kind of just zeroed in, and I was like, yes, absolutely, I'm all in on this thing. This is these are my people.
Which is actually where we met.
Quasi met, I guess. You were like staring at me from behind the screen from memory.
Yeah.
I think that might check out for Emily. Very accurate.
Yeah, that was in 2021. I looked it up today.
There you go. So first kind of not really met, but knew of each other in 2021. And then I mentioned this before. Obviously, I did a little bit of background on Emily, because we were actually supposed to be on a panel together last year at PAX. Didn't go through. That was okay. But I was really interested
this year.
Yeah, there is always this year. I was really interested in bringing on a woman that had participated in the D&D community, and kind of her version of like being a woman in that space, and kind of what kind of, I guess, ways of, you know, protecting, you know, energies and all that kind of stuff in that space, because it can be very, you know, exhausting. And so I really wanted someone on the panel that had that kind of experience. But I tell you, and this is before I that knew that these two were a couple, or that they were, Instagram official, I was like, this man is flirting with every single woman there. What is this guy's deal? And I was about to get on my soapbox about how, women in these spaces, they're put into, very, spicy situations by these men who think that,
Promethean,
hot
there's a
shit.
0 in it for zero respect for his
Clearly, this guy has a problem, and Emily is very uncomfortable. Little did I know they were touching feet under the table. Okay, and I feel very embarrassed. Post thinking that.
You're fine.
So
it's interesting that you mentioned this because I think Promethean and I first started doing like Dungeons and Dragons and roleplay stuff together. I want to say it was only like 2, maybe 3 years maximum. When we were regularly
together?
Yeah, not even playing, but like regularly kind of, I was either running a thing and you were in it, or like someone else was doing a thing. And a lot of it was like one-off kind of charity-based one-shots. We do a lot of charity where we can. And I think like we were almost immediately best friends. Like it was, I don't know, I think Pro describes it in like one of his Twitch clips, which is like, I'm just him, but the other version.
More or less.
Yeah, right.
Very similar. And I think we got very comfortable with each other very quickly and started making jokes left, right, and center. So transitioning into like relationship hood, we were wondering how many people would be like, I knew it. And we've definitely had our fair share of that since getting together.
The relationship came as a surprise to no one except us, I think. But like the flirting and stuff, it's an interesting point, because like one of the key things in especially a D&D environment, especially an online D&D environment where you have just this constant carousel of people coming in, is the lines and veils stuff and like safety tools, so you know where people's lines are and what they're comfortable with. I think part of that friendship that sparked up with Em and I pretty immediately, we established that we were entirely comfortable approaching and crossing any of each other's lines at any point in time, just for shits and gigs.
And that came with trust. Like that didn't come straight away.
Correct. And absolutely both ways too. Like, yes, it is super easy to be a dude on the internet doing anything, but there's also that level of like, I need to be comfortable with stuff as well, right? Like, otherwise what I'm trying to bring to the thing is affected by it as well, just from that purely kind of platonic playing the game kind of factor as well. But we got along pretty quickly, like a house on fire, and just starting getting all up in each other's business. I think I competitively played Horizon whilst you were doing it. I sneakily found the game just to see if I could play it better than you did.
And you did, so get wrecked.
I don't know about that. Yeah, but you absolutely murdered me for The Last of Us, I think. So kind of evens out.
Well, win some, lose some, of course. But I want to know, whose idea was it?
To date?
And yes. Like, was this
a very interesting question. So we have a third best friend who we've got friends, but NVCDM is a wonderful individual. They were my first ever follower on Twitch, and it would be very easy for that relationship to be parasocial, but it's not. And NVCDM is one of the coolest, most creative, funniest people I've ever met. Was my friend before Promethean was, and then we kind of formed this friendship kind of trio very quickly, and they have been one of my best friends ever since, and it was their idea to date, because one night when we had partaken maybe in a few too many beverages, celebrating Promethean moving into his new place, we were dead to kiss.
It was very high school in that regard.
It was
But
real
look,
stupid. It was
it did the
really
job.
weird. It wasn't weird. It was fine. From memory, Promethean was unhappy with the way he received the kiss,
Mhm.
and came storming back into the room after a cigarette and reciprocated said kiss, to my surprise and pleasure, I guess.
And then when next
you
we
do.
met, we decided that was real fun and we should probably just keep doing it.
Yeah.
There you go. Wow. So it was someone else's
Such
idea.
a high school way to meet.
Someone was
Or
sick
date.
of you mucking around and was like, come on, they've had enough liquid courage. Let's just make it happen. Let's
It
make
was
some
just
magic.
the three of us too. Like there was no one else. There. It was just the three of us.
Yeah, in terms of like the amount of peer pressure involved, it only took one person.
Yeah. Just one person. Right. And had you had these thoughts before, or were you just like, no, we're just going to be best friends for a long time?
I'd never like said in my brain, I'm going to date Promethean. That's never like a thing that I have expected or like preconceived. I have definitely thought my best friend's a cutie pie, but that's as far, and mostly platonically. Like a lot of our relationship,
Okay,
and
yeah.
the thing that is, I guess, surprising to a bunch of people is that our relationship was incredibly platonic, despite the amount of flirtiness and like borderline inappropriateness that there was with some of our jokes. And when I say inappropriate, I don't mean it was inappropriate. I mean like to the outsider, similar to what you've said.
Outside observer may see it as such, yeah.
It'd be like, whoa, I'm not used to this kind of a dynamic. Yeah,
Like,
no,
a
it
core
had
part of
never
the
kind of been a
friendship-
thing.
Like a core part of the friendship, I think, was built on us sharing our respective views on how we thought we were pieces of crap, and then the other person saying, "Don't you talk about my friend like that." Like that was, I think, the cycle of friendship a lot from there. And I think like days before we did a Hot One style stream with MVCDM and Aaron from Let's Roll. And one of the questions that came up with that, we're kind of getting questions from assorted sources, was about like relationships in the broader group. And so, yeah, like literally days before, it was absolutely not. I'm ready to like chill and relax into like bachelor life for a little bit and just kind of see how that goes and how long I can run that gauntlet, I guess, and see who this guy is in that circumstance. So no, I don't think we put too much kind of thought into that prior. Zero regrets since though.
Yeah, I think great.
Well, I hope so.
Well, it'd be interesting if that was the you've heard it here first.
Hey, we love a confession here. What can I say? Just comes out of people.
Yeah.
But had you played, so obviously in any campaign, had you played a character like adjacent to one another that was romantic?
We did.
Yes.
The first time we played
did.
like as players together.
It
It started as a joke. So the initial joke so this was Castleton with Winter's Tales, and so it was a massive endeavor. Like what was it, like 130 odd like creators?
120 people, and it was Hunger Games crossed over with Bridgerton. So like
Bridgerton.
Battle Royale, but
Yeah.
you want to find love along the way.
More or less. And the joke amongst a lot of the Aussie crowd initially, the first version of that was, oh, well, everyone at some point will have dated Promethean's character, which, you know, is fine. I get dunked on a lot and I'm used to it, and that's absolutely fine. That's what I'm here for. That's other people
Terrible
do
time,
cool stuff,
obviously.
and yeah, it's great. And most of that kind of didn't stick. There just wasn't really opportunities. But our characters, we kind of spun up a backstory where at a point in the past they had eloped, gotten married, terrible backstory stuff had happened, and then my character just
You
kind
abandoned
of
me on a ship.
split. So it was a semi kind of hostile romantic kind of opposite.
It's like
relationship
divorcees
initially going into it,
reuniting. for the
And
first time.
you planned to kill me in that game as a result of that originally. But it didn't go that way. We just kind of the narrative.
I wanted to be a villain. I wanted to, like, my big thing, because the entire premise of that was like you're also trying to kill people in the background. There's 100 people, and you want to be the last two standing. You want to be the perfect match, standing together at the end. And I was like, you know what? It'd be really cool if I was like a villain in this moment, because everyone wants to be the hero in D&D, and a lot of people want to be the hero, and I did not want that. And then along the way, there was like a confession of I'm still in love with you, and I was like, well, that really ruins all of my character's motives. So thanks for that, buddy.
Right.
Sorry, bud.
And obviously, sorry, you go. But okay, so if I get this right, so so there obviously was an arc somewhere where the I guess you guys weren't dungeon mastering at the time, I assume.
No.
And then you're just rolling, and it just happened. Is that right?
I think what had happened was we were confronted with a scene in a romantic garden where we were kind of seeing each other face to face for the first time. And there was a conversation that was kind of like, you know, when you run into your ex in like an uncomfortable moment, and you're like, yeah, so the weather, you know, it's pretty cool out there. It was very that. And then it was kind of like, we don't have to be awkward. Like, that's kind of the way that the conversation in character this entire time went. And then, you know, a lot of Dungeons and Dragons is hinged on roles, but while the dungeon master usually calls for the roles, Promythean had my character roll an insight check. Which, like, if there's anyone listening that doesn't know what D&D is, insight is basically like, how much can you read based on what this character's body language looks like versus what they're saying words wise.
Between the lines, are they lying to you? Are they hiding something? That kind of deal,
And I think the line had said, like, you'd said something, and I'd rolled this check and I'd rolled really well, which meant that I, as my character, could understand that he was still in love with me, despite what he was saying out loud. And I was like, shit. Right. And I was like, it's too juicy not to go along with this. Like, you gotta do it.
Which is also a thing with the game in general, right? Like, and it was kind of a spontaneous decision in the moment. There was two things. Like, I fully expected, I think we both did, fully expected my character in the overall kind of Castleton thing to be kind of killed off pretty quickly. I thought, all right, it'd be nice to get, like, just to squeeze out like one or two cool little things before that happens. And I had an adorable seal who's currently sitting over here.
My son.
Our child of divorce in that game. I had an adorable seal, and I had an opportunity to throw out unrequited love. And I thought, cool, I'm taking that for sure. And went with that. And yeah, we had some fun with it.
Yeah, it was great. We ended up being maybe one of the only like couples in the like D&D kind of character couples in the thing that only focused on wholesomeness and wanting to be in love.
Rather than like revolution and overthrowing the gods and stuff, and we're like, no, we're cool. We'll just like go retire.
We just want to love each other. That's cool.
Oh, well, I
we survived, so love that.
Yeah, that's right. You survived, and I know.
Yeah. Sorry, go. We did survive. I think part of it though was the friendship was a key factor in that. So once that started to roll, I think we both immediately started messaging each other. We're like, okay, what are we going to do with this as a concept? Do we think? And if we hadn't have built up kind of that friendship and had an understanding of kind of what each of us were okay with, just as players around a table, it might have been kind of more difficult to then take that route with those characters as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've mentioned that a couple of times now, Promythean, in the fact that there needs to be an understanding of comfortability between players. I mean, especially when you're going to, have these really long campaigns. How do good dungeon masters go about that?
I would argue the same as human beings should do it in life. If you have to ask the question, then the answer is no. Like, if you haven't built up a level of trust enough at the table or with anyone
Yeah.
that you're interacting with to know, or at least have an inclination of what the answer to that question is likely to be, then I don't think you're necessarily in a position to ask it. And until you have some kind of dynamic between, you know, and it can be one or more players. Like I imagine, for example, the Hexa stuff that you're looking at very likely was Valenda, right? So this particular character, there's a trope with the bards in Dungeons and Dragons. So like the fancy musical magic folk, that they're the horny ones, right? The bard that we have in our party is not. And so when we started out with our respective kind of D&D campaigns on our channels, the initial challenge was we're going to out edgelord each other with rogue characters. So like the stabby
Sneaky
thieves and assassins, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Anne's campaign, in Echoes of Divinity, when it became clear that our bard wasn't going to go bard, and it also became immediately clear in my campaign that Emily had absolutely already won, being edgier than I ever could be, I went with, well, okay, I'll just be the sluttiest rogue that exists in her world. And so that's kind of the character's vibe. And again, that's something that's discussed with the players and with Am as the DM, and it's kind of built into the character as well.
I'm
but in general,
protective of like safety around a table, particularly because I have run charity events that have had, or co-run, I should say, with Date Dungeon, another awesome podcast. A charity event that's had like 100 people involved. So when you have that many people and you haven't met like 30 or 40 of them, understanding like where it's not even just about every individual person's comfort levels there, it then becomes about, well, what is the channel's comfort level? Like where are our boundaries here? At a bare minimum, like and there is some contention about this, is a lot of people don't like using, and not a lot, but there are definitely people out there that don't like using safety tools. I'm going to say, if you're ever going to sit down at a table and you've not sat down at a table before and there's been no discussion about safety or boundaries, it's a red flag. Leave immediately. Do not partake. Unless these people are people you've known for years, don't involve yourself. At a bare minimum, I think I have a safety checklist that every player can fill out individually, full of like topics that are triggering anything from something obvious to something less obvious, and then varying degrees of comfort. So green being absolutely 3000% okay with this, yellow being I think I'm okay with it, but like I might need a heads up beforehand, and a red that's an absolutely do not touch this, as well as like, and I know Promethean uses the same thing, or a similar iteration of it, as well as like spaces to fill in additional things. For a long time, I have had a fear of space. So like that's not like something that people like.
Space. Which isn't typically on those checklists either.
But that is very niche.
So it's one of those things where it's like I don't want to play in a game that takes me to space, for example. That is like a phobia that I'm working on within my own kind of comfort, but like I don't want to roll up to a table, have not spoken to anyone about anything, and then be thrown into space. And because human beings are so complicated, we need to have these tools. The other thing that is typically kind of thrown out there is an X card. So just like any version of an X symbol, where in the moment, if something is happening and you're uncomfortable with it, just throw this up, and it's an immediate sign of let's move on.
Because you might not know everything that makes you uncomfortable at a given point in time.
Well, that's another thing. Right?
It's something I think we've both said a couple of times, is like in our respective games that we've run ever, is like my version of it is I will absolutely sacrifice immersion and like continuity and the game itself for making sure that everyone involved is still actually having fun. Like if they're not having fun, what is the point of doing the thing?
Yeah, and I think that's like it's really important because particularly for something like Echoes of Divinity, like that I run on Hexes and Vexes, I'm really mean to my players, and not in like a screw you way, in like a I have figured out what their like deep dark things that haunt them in the night are. Promethean's character has a lot of mummy issues, a lot of
so many mummy issues and daddy issues,
a lot of loss, and a lot of that kind of comes at isolation, and also like has been thrown out by his family basically, and I kind of have those concepts for each character, and I will pull on those threads to make them sad, because that's the type of game that I've started running.
Okay.
That's also a conversation that I've had with everyone beforehand, being like, these are going to be the themes.
Yeah,
this is what we're going to tackle. And that's broken up by
exposure therapy for people, you know. And if you agree to it, you know, you can.
It's one of those
begin
things.
to have healthy and safe relationships.
It can be. That's a whole conversation in itself, I think, too. Is like if you're going to attempt to use it as that kind of thing, you got to be real, genuinely careful, because you can kind of have a little bit of bleed between the character and yourself in some instances. I've like walked away from sessions, and it's usually the ones that Emily runs, and I'm still like in that mindset, and I've kind of got to actively take myself out of it a bit, just because I'm so kind of into that character. But yeah, the safety tools thing in general is super important. The one other thing I'd say, like back to what like a good DM would do, I think every DM that I consider to be good has given the opportunity to kind of add context to what those things are that genuinely make you uncomfortable, so you wouldn't be having fun anymore, but don't demand that you provide it. And that was something that I kind of picked up on and incorporated into my stuff early on. Like if you want to, or feel comfortable enough to, or feel it necessary to provide additional context to, a particular phobia listing or something, go ahead and do it. But I'm never going to demand that you do that. You don't need to justify kind of what those hard lines are, I guess.
Yeah. No, those all sound like excellent things for someone who's actually never joined a game. But I think the main thing that the main theme that I'm seeing is communication, really being open and
effective communication. Correct.
We make this joke a lot.
We do.
Yes. But communication is different for everyone, so giving multiple opportunities to communicate. So yeah, no, those all sound like great things. Promethean, you mentioned that you kind of sometimes get stuck in your character. Do you ever find? Well, I don't know what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who's creative like this, but do you ever find yourself like slipping into different characters, like saying lines that you might have said, maybe during some moment?
Oh no.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe you've accidentally called the character name, during
I'm more of a criminal for this. I feel like I'm the biggest.
Not quite that far. But I think
you just do that thing that you did to me in the game last night. Or...
We haven't tried that yet.
Can you be really mean to me right now, please? Look,
you just need to yell at me.
Yes, but I'd say not to date in any overly controversial context. I think like a day-to-day
usually
thing.
The troll.
It's more or less correct.
Okay.
And it's not just limited to the in-game stuff, like little quips and stuff from our respective clips, just playing games and whatnot as well. We'll absolutely throw back at each other just to get an easy get at some point. It's
we're very competitive.
It feels a lot like It's like quotes from movies and songs and stuff, right? Like we incorporate
Okay,
it into
yeah,
our
yeah.
kind of daily
Earworms.
language. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the same kind of thing happens with any kind of streaming as well. Is occasionally, and especially if kind of you revisit it enough, or if there's a certain, I guess, a certain like mental lead up or a certain kind of emotion or a certain scenario associated with it. It's the same thing. It's just a hair trigger. This line makes sense for this scenario. And I think we both do that relatively frequently.
Oh yeah. There's a clip that I love to reference every time. And it happened years ago when we were not years, but like actually no, it was maybe 2 years ago now. Where I asked Promythean to describe our friendship in 3 words. And I don't know what he was thinking, because we were best friends at this point. And I don't know what he was thinking, but the first word was obedient.
Mm-hmm.
And someone clipped it, and it's basically me going, huh? And then like choose your next 2 words very carefully. And it's just Promethean uncomfortably laughing the entire time. But like that's kind of one of the, and not even in a sexy way do we reference this, but like
Yeah, okay, yeah,
all the
sure.
time. Comes back all the time, and not even just me. My chat does it to you all the time.
Correct. That's my legacy from here on out.
Yeah,
Jeez, they'll write that on your gravestone.
It was Promethean, obedient.
Yeah.
Oh
good.
my goodness.
Wait, no, it'd be he and Neil's Promethean, I guess. Obedient.
Good. Yes, my
Fantastic.
stream likes to make you kneel.
Sure. I hear all these lovely things. You know, you guys obviously have wicked senses of humor. You know, intelligent, creative as fuck. You know, just amazing people. What's the challenge here? What are some issues that you've come up against, and you feel like you might come up against?
One of the coolest things about Promethean, he's gonna hate that I say nice things about him. One of the coolest things about Promethean is that he is I call him this all the time. He's a green flag man. Like generally is a green flag man. Very considerate of everyone else, and myself a bunch. Sometimes where I fear to the detriment of himself. But and you've said communication as well. Like he's so good at communicating and talking things through. Where like it's actually genuinely difficult to think of things that are gonna be hard because we are really good at communicating. And I know that sounds like 2 people being like, look at us, we're the perfect couple. But it's not that. It's I think because the more difficult things that we've been through have been as friends, not as a couple. And you know, it's been the dark side of gaming, where you've had difficult situations where someone's crossed a line or a boundary and you've had to call them out on it or pull them up on it. And we've had to do that together a couple of times now, which is unfortunate. But those are the tough times. They're the toughest times.
Yeah.
In kind of my books, and it won't be the last time we have to do it, because the unfortunate part about these communities is, well, not the unfortunate part, because it's also the good part, is they're changing all the time and new people are coming in and out. And it just means that this is not going to be the last shit person that we're going to meet on the internet.
Yeah.
Hopefully it is.
To purge out the folk who, I guess, don't respect the group, right? And don't respect when that clear and effective communication is presented, and choose to just ignore it and be dicks instead.
Do you think that
the tough thing is potentially scheduling, because the bane of every D&D player's existence is
correct.
Scheduling. So that's maybe the only other thing I can see us coming up against. I work in the music industry, and Promethean's busy all the time. So like in between like streaming and me dragging him to gigs and all of that sort of stuff, sometimes like maybe the most difficult thing we'll face is having no time.
I think like relationship wise, I don't think we've even close to kind of hit any any of those kinds of tests yet, but sort of as Em indicated, part of our friendship was built through what individually was a pretty rough time in our respective lives. Kind of is when that friendship built up. I would like to think that would help us kind of manage any scenarios like that. I think the most genuinely likely issue for us as a pair to face in the immediate short-term future is, given the nature of the games that we kind of get involved in, I feel like there could be like and so this is something in like a home game. You've got the thing of like, the DM going out with a player type thing, right? And it creates this bias towards one player in a group of people. And so there's kind of this sort of stigma around that as a concept. We've already, I think, joked about and riffed off that enough in a pretty short amount of time to have some fun with it, but it's unlikely that we would do that. But it would be possible that like folk that we're playing with
might feel that way.
Relationship is impacting the game in some way of significance to them. That's something that I'm kind of mildly concerned about.
You literally just killed me in your campaign. I don't know what you're talking about.
I did.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
You did it on purpose so people didn't people didn't think he was favoring you.
Damage control.
Oh no. Yes. Very well.
He's going to get like a little chalkboard behind him, and he's going to put like a tally for every time he kills you in a campaign. And if anyone has a go at him, he'll like, look, I've killed her 87 times. All right. Don't even start. Yeah, no, I can imagine that would definitely be a concern. I suppose you were friends beforehand. You've probably seen, quite a bit from one another in regards to like, I don't know, other, like you say, flirting and things like that. So
we've
do
seen
you feel like
each other as
jealousy?
well.
Do you feel like jealousy is just off the table because you're just so secure and cool with one another?
Oh yeah. And look, I'm not going to say I'm not human. Like I'm a human. There could be a time where in the future I get jealous of something. But it's unlikely to be that kind of coded jealousy. It's going to be really petty stuff like, you're doing this cool thing and I'm not a part of it. That's wild. I want to be a part of it. Which is just typical jealousy. I think like my personal standpoint is that like, and it's not for everyone, is that flirtiness is just a natural part of existing, and like my friends are all really hot. So like,
like, yes, they are.
As long as I'm secure, Promethean's secure, and the person that I'm flirting with is secure and consensual to the flirtiness, then like, it's not something I think either of us would get jealous about. We've done it a bunch in front of each other. So.
True. We have. Yeah, I don't think either of us are particularly inclined to lean towards jealousy as a general concept. I think if anything, it's very similar to, again, kind of back to the friendship and the streaming stuff in general. I think we're both really good at being like, I don't like this word, it's so American, like cheerleaders for each other. And I think like one of the things that I love about him and anyone in general, like a thing I truly enjoy is watching people enjoy whatever it is that they're doing. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And
watching them come alive doing that.
And if that's in you while you are flirting, awesome. I love that. That's real cute and fun to see. Like absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think there's a Taylor Swift quote. I'm a big Taylor Swift fan.
Wait,
that
what?
like that I always crazy. That
Didn't
I always
notice
like to
you at all.
refer back to, and then it's the worst kind of person is someone that makes you feel bad for being excited or passionate about something. And so like as long as we're still communicating, as long as like we're having fun and other people are having fun, like that's the most important thing, and everyone's safe, obviously. Like that's the three key kind of big things.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy hearing that from you both. So thank you so much for sharing that with me and to our lovely listeners. I do find it fascinating that I guess both of you came into this space not seeking anything, not looking for anything, and then you've just found a best friend and then whoops, fell in love. Do you think lots of people get into this hobby to find someone?
It's a really good question. I hope they get into it for look, D&D is not it's not Tinder, and it's not Grindr, it's not Bumble, it's none of those applications. And I think if you go into a collaborative storytelling game expecting that, there is a high likelihood for disappointment. I think there are definitely people out there who probably do it. I'm yet to meet those people. And I'm not the spokesperson for D&D. But
no, of course not. But
it's one of those things where I think people definitely do it, and there's definitely iterations of it with that are definitely more flirty based. D&D is kind of just the biggest pillar of tabletop role-playing games. There's a bunch of other games that are designed to be flirty and sexy and stuff like that. One of my favorite systems is Sexy Battle Wizards, which is you have 3 statistics.
Love Sexy Battle Wizards.
Sexy Battle and Wizards.
Real cool.
It's great. And there's one that we just played in together called Big Gay Orcs, which is all about being hot gay orcs. So there's a bunch of ways that you can kind of not necessarily turn it into something like that, but gear it more that way. But I don't know how many people get into it expecting to find that, unless it's in the game.
I would suggest that anyone who did, similarly, is very likely to be disappointed, unless the game is very explicitly set up as a dating sim type thing, and that's what you're there for. Which and again, there are systems, there are modules within those systems that do accommodate for that. You can run a game that is exactly that, but I think they're probably pretty rare. I would like to think that most people playing these kinds of games would be more inclined to rather find someone else to find out a little something about themselves in the process, which may then lead to that down the road in one way or another, and that's cool. But it's I don't think it's the prime directive of most players at all.
I think as well, Pro kind of touched on it earlier, where a lot of the time there can be bleed between characters and people, and it goes for character creation too. A lot of people will say your first character that you ever create is most like yourself, which is not true for everyone.
I hope not.
Not true for really everyone. Hope not. And certainly not true for me, but it's been true for a lot of people, because getting into, at least from my experience, getting into Dungeons and Dragons, not really knowing anything about it was terrifying. And not because I get to fight monsters part was terrifying. The most terrifying part for me was the talking as someone that isn't myself, and how that was going to go. Yeah, the playing pretend bit, which is crazy because we do that as kids so much. But I think there are elements or similarities with a lot of people between themselves and their characters throughout kind of any character. I know there's a lot of my characters are stubborn. I'm super stubborn. And a lot of my characters have parental issues because I did. So there are things like that make it easier to relate to a character. So I guess the cool part about that is that, and I don't recommend using D&D as therapy, but to Pro's point, it's about discovering things about yourself that you might not know. Or that you do know, but you're just kind of pulling on a thread, and dealing with it or exploring it in a safe environment. There are a lot of people that talk about discovering their sexuality through Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPGs, because it's a safe space to be whoever you want to be.
Fair point. And probably just community in general as well, right? Like if
Yeah, sense of belonging
you
for sure.
yeah, and look, I think the word community is overused a lot, but I think in general, like in the grand scheme of things, there would be a ton of players that I think a lot of the folk, and probably less so now, to be honest, but certainly over the last, like you look at the last 20 to 30 years of the game, a lot of folk that want to play, that have a like an innate interest in the concepts that these kind of games entail, would already have a sense of kind of isolation and alienation from a few things. And so if you can find a group of 6 to 8 people to hang out with and like hunt dragons and steal treasure with for a few hours a day.
Still never fought a dragon.
Whoa!
Oh,
hang on, wait.
wow.
Let me just take some DM notes real quick. then that'd be a really cool feeling. There's definitely an aspect of that with kind of me playing the game more rather than sort of the infrequent little versions of it that I had. And have met some genuinely really cool people just doing this version of it, including the best friend. And
Stop it.
Love
Get your hard eyes away from
yeah.
She said lovingly.
No, you know what? And that's a wonderful way to look at it. And both and I'm going to use this word I'm going to say this word and you're going to be like, huh? And I'm going to be like, you know what I mean. But your level of maturity around these concepts really speaks to the wonderful humans you are. No wonder, you've ended up in this chapter with each other. So genuinely,
it's really nice.
Genuinely happy.
It is really nice. I have accused Emily of having a very high level of emotional maturity in the past. I can also confirm so immature, just day to day.
Yeah. But I think to do immaturity well, you have to be actually quite
agreed.
Mature, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
For
I've
sure.
had Promythean like ninja kicking in my lounge room, and he's pretty mature. So
Whoa.
Wow, I didn't know you could do that. There you go.
I can't. The maturity means that my knees just didn't deal with it very well.
They're just lost. I'm so mature. Well, like Stephen Ben.
Good golly.
Emily and Promythean, thank you so much for joining us here at Confessions of a Gamer Couple. It's an absolute pleasure. I will put all of your links to all of your stuff down below. So if anyone wants to find out more about you or, watch one of these, incredible sessions that you run, I take no responsibility for how good they are. But hey,
I take no responsibility for any emotional trauma that comes from it. Because, yeah, it's dark out there.
The 0 in Promethean stands for the amount of responsibility I take for anything ever. So same.
That's a lie.
Disclaimers galore. Before we go, is there anything that you want to impart on the TTRPG world? Any advice or anything you'd like to say?
Something very simple. Don't be shit. That's literally it. It's and I say this a lot, it's the easiest thing in the world and takes the lowest amount of effort to not be a dick. So just don't be a dick.
Don't be
that's my advice.
It's real.
So I can be bad at the game though.
You can be bad at the game, and sometimes it's funner if you are.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It is heaps.
You're like, fun. I'm a dungeon master that doesn't know all of the rules of D&D, and a lot of people that have been around for a long time aren't gonna love that. I often say I use D&D as a skeleton, and at my table, like, there are rules that don't exist in the book that I've made up. So absolutely, if you, it's all if you,
it's all allowed.
If you're scared to try it, don't be. Just make sure that you find a group of people that take your safety seriously, and that make you feel comfortable and respected. That is the most important thing.
Correct.
Go on, Promythean.
look, the flip side of that is just the stuff that we've already talked about, right? Have fun, communicate effectively, and all of those things create, like, those two things, and don't be a dick, create the framework that you need to play a game and have fun doing it, I think, in general. The only other advice, the hill that I will die on playing this game, is always split the party. I don't care what anyone says. Always split the party. You don't all need to be together at the same time all the time. That's dumb.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Listen, there's going to be some rage comments in response to that, but it's true. Come at me.
I can imagine as a DM that would be challenging, but it just means you have to remember more stuff and write it all down. You know, if you write it all down, you'd be fine.
That's the other piece of advice. Don't write it all down. Don't do that. No.
If become an effective note taker.
It hurts so much to write it all down. It hurts truly so much.
Get your players to do it for you.
Yeah. They'll be honest with you 100% of the time. It'll be fine.
Great. Or you could tape it.
Yeah, or you could stream it on the internet and hope for the best.
Or you stream it and you can watch it back. Yeah. And open yourself up to criticism from the internet about your DMing. Cool.
I love it.
We love that. We love public humiliation. I mean, that's why we're here, right?
Absolutely.
Anyway.
If I can't make fun of myself, then no one else can.
Listen, I feel like in conversation about receiving criticism on the internet, as a white man on the internet, I'm going to shut up real quick.
Yeah, you shut your mouth.
That's right. You should be seen, not heard.
Know your place.
You guys, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who is watching and listening. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share it out. This has been fantastic. And see you all next time for another episode of Confessions of a Gamer Couple. Bye, everyone.